Hey everybody, welcome back. We are here for another episode of what we call Think with a Drink. In this particular episode, Craig, we are going to be going over, we're calling it the 6 errors of retirement planning.
Okay.
We don't ever like to say errors. It's just something we came up with the title in terms of it. We usually say missteps because people make mistakes, but stuff happens as we go along the way.
There's only errors in baseball.
Yes. There are errors in baseball, so everybody makes them, right? So this one is called Retirement Planning Errors and How to Avoid Making Them. Next slide. Real quick, just a little bit about us. My name is Tom Alessi. I am the president of the ARIES Foundation for Financial Education. The letters after my name just let you know that I am a certified fiduciary. Unlike the other folks on TV who just tell you that they're a fiduciary. I've been in the business for 25 years now, going into my 26th year fairly soon. And I specialize in dealing with individuals on investments and guidance and that type of side of the business. Craig, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. So I'm Craig Richardson. I'm the vice president of the ARIES Foundation, and the letters after my name say Vice President Planning Services. I've been in this business about 22 years, and I specialize in working with families and individuals to help them to find their financial goals and have a better relationship with their money.
The other member of our management team, Melanie, is not in front of the camera. She's behind the camera. She's making everything work in the background here, so we're very appreciative of her. She is our operations manager. She is the glue that keeps us running and keeps this whole thing going with all that we have going on and everything else that's there. Next one, if you could. If you don't know us, check us out on the web. You can find us at ariesfoundation.org. If you haven't seen our new website, please check it out. Let us know what you think. We went through this whole process, did this whole upgrade to it. You got sections in there depending on who you are, whether you're an individual looking for some information and some guidance, whether you're an employer looking for some of the fundamentals and the things that we can help you out with. Go check it out again. It's ariesfoundation.org. The mission behind the ARIES Foundation is trying to help everyone have a better relationship with their money. Because it doesn't really matter who you are. You're in a relationship with your money, whether you realize it or not. And just like every other personal relationship in your life, there are behaviors and triggers that cause us to act, well, a little irrationally sometimes when it just comes to our money. And so that's all we try to do at ARIES. Try to help everyone take a little step back, take a little bit of that emotion out of dealing with their finances.
Take the edge
off. This will take the edge off, but that's it. So what you can do, I don't care what social media, we're probably out there, you're probably going to find us, again, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, go check us out, go follow us, like us, whatever it is you're supposed to do. I don't, is that a thing?
It used to be.
Oh. You can always email us at info@ariesfoundation.org. Okay, now for the fun part of all of this. We call this show Think with a Drink because the idea is that we want to have financial investment and that type of stuff be more casual, more relaxed. And we can't think of a better way to do it than if we're not indulging in something and at least trying to take, as Craig said, take the edge off.
Right.
So what we're drinking today this is called Space Dust. It's from Elysian. That's the name. And Space Dust is an IPA. Very citrusy. It's got a lot of different citrus in there. They try to take a little bit of that out, though, a little bit of the bite that you would get normally, give it more of a dry hop finish as far as that is concerned. So let's go. Here we go. Cheers.
Cheers. Now, can I only drink Space Dust during the retrograde, or?
When Aries is in the second moon or whatever that is, and everything. What song was that? What is that? In the moon? I don't know. I'm not going to go there because who knows, right? Okay. All right. So our agenda for today, right? So we're going to do the 6 retirement planning mistakes, errors, whatever you want to call them. Some of the things that you can do as to not get caught up in that, to make you aware of it, as you're going forward here, as you start to plan for your retirement, doesn't really matter what age you are, whether you're in your 30s, your 40s, or your 50s, or even into your 60s, some of this stuff really does matter. And it can definitely affect you with everything that you do. So we want to make sure that we cover that. We'll go over the little call to action. There's actually a couple of them in here, and one of them is kind of cool. We'll spend a little time with it as we get into it. But so let's go. I believe we start with error number 6.
Ooh, starting at the end, right.
Well, we're going down,
Oh,
right?
okay.
You know, so we're going down. We're not counting up. We're counting down. So error number
I didn't learn
6,
that way in
right?
school.
Waiting too long to start saving. So here's the thing with that. This, you know, the way Craig and I explain this to everybody is we talk about the savings train getting into the station. And the idea and the concept there is that, hey, I'm in my 20s, you know, I've got student debt. I want to get that paid off. So I'm going to deal with that first, then I'll start saving for it.
Right.
Then I'm in my late 20s, early 30s, and maybe it's, hey, I want to start saving for down payment on a home. And then it's having a family, and then this thing and that thing, and next thing you know, you're in your 50s and you haven't started to save yet.
Terrible.
And that's what happens. So, and if you could go to the next slide for us, thank you. So this just talks about the high cost of waiting. And essentially this just showing you that if you were putting away $100 a month and earning 6% on your money
Right.
as you invest, the different amounts that you would have if you started at age 25 versus 26 versus 35 versus 45, and you can see the numbers, and the numbers are exponential. It's that whole compounding that goes on in terms of what happens with everything.
Right, because it's not just the fact that you're putting money in for a longer period of time, which does help, but you're getting your money to do what we talk about all the time, which is work for you, right? So
Right.
a lot of that is interest.
And that interest compounds. And really, you don't see that major effect of that compounding until much later on, right? So it's not something you're going to see like in the first 3 years or 5 years.
Right, because you're putting mostly your own principal in.
Yes.
Yep.
And so what you're going to find is that, and it's very difficult. This is why it's the savings train doesn't get into the station, because people look at it and say, well, wait, I'm not getting that much more. It's not building up dramatically for me.
That's why all the old vampires are wealthy, because they live a few hundred years. They got time on their
They
side.
live forever in terms of dealing with that, of course. So the idea there is if you can try to start as early as possible. So if you're listening to this, you're in your 30s, start now. If you're in your 40s, you haven't started, start now. I mean, the whole idea is you just get in, because you can never get the time back.
Not yet.
Not yet. Haven't gotten there yet.
Talk to Elon about that.
Right. He'll try. Error number 5 as we are going down, right? This is more of a, as you would get later into our retirement, but what happens is a lot of people end up taking Social Security early. And there are a various number of reasons that that's a problem when you deal with Social Security if you're taking it early, but the main one is it's a penalty. It's a reduction in your benefit amount. And that reduction in your benefit amount is locked in. That stays with you forever.
Well, until you die. Yes.
Well, yeah, until you no longer have the benefit in terms of dealing with that. But the idea is, if my full retirement age for somebody who was born after 1960 is 67,
Right.
and I take it at 62, it's a 30% reduction in my benefit amount.
Oosh.
Now, there's a certain point in time, and the next slide when we get to it, we'll talk about that break-even point that comes up, right, in terms of dealing with it. But the concept there is that if I take it early, and there's a certain amount of time out in the future, if you just think of this as like I'm pouring beer into my glass,
Okay.
all right? And this is, my glass is the age 62 glass, and your glass is the age 67 glass.
Okay.
Your glass will have more in it at a certain point. It's like 13 years, if you can see
Right.
the screen out there, where it connects. Will have more in it than mine will at that point.
Right.
And so the conversation becomes, for most people, is, all right, this really doesn't make sense if I know I have longevity in my family. If I'm going to live a long time, why would I give up the money early? Why would I do, the better play is to delay.
Right.
because the money's going to be around longer.
Right, if you can. And that's the whole point, right? If you've saved adequately and you have other funds that you can rely on to get you to that bridge, and your health is good enough where you can work to full retirement age, well, then you have that option. If you don't, a lot of people maybe they can't work. Disability, something else comes up, taking care of grandkids, kids, who knows? Maybe there isn't a lot of longevity in your family. Maybe the average age is, 70, 72. And so you're never going to get past the break-even point. So what's the point? So there's just lots of reasons why people might make individual decisions, but what's important is to understand how that decision affects you over time.
Right. The other is that depending on your spouse situation, right, if you delay, the longer you delay, the higher your benefit amount is. Your spouse, depending on their working situation, is entitled to the greater of either their working number or half of yours.
Right.
So you may be the number one breadwinner in your family, and your spouse may work part-time outside the family, or maybe just works inside the home. So the longer you delay, the more the benefit is, the more the benefit that your spouse is also going to get, because you're going to get 50% of that.
For both of you, right.
Yeah. So there's the other combination in it to be thinking of. There are other ramifications that go along with it, but you just want to be sure, because a lot of people just say, hey, I became eligible, I'm taking it now,
Right. Well,
without thinking about it.
I think it's free money.
It's free money.
Right.
There is also, though, however, a penalty if you are still working and you're under full retirement age, that the government will take back some of that benefit. It's $1 for every 2 you earn over a certain dollar amount in a given year that they will take back. So if you're collecting early and you're still working, that sometimes, depending on how much you're earning, you may have sliced your benefit way down to almost nothing.
Right. Well, that you're also paying into Social Security at the same time you're getting penalized for it. So, right.
They're taken away, and I'm getting taxed on it at the same time. This is just crazy. So it's a decision that definitely needs, as Craig said, a lot of time to be thought of. For electing Social Security, you need to spend some time with it and not just jump into the whole conversation on it.
Right.
Next slide. Number 4, mishandling taxes. So, listen, taxes are, what is that inevitability, right? It's like
death and taxes.
Death and taxes,
right.
Thank you, in terms of dealing with that. Right?
So far.
Yeah. But in retirement, this is one of those things that sort of gets overlooked. We just talked about Social Security. Your Social Security benefit can get taxed, which means now I'm taking away some of that benefit that I was thinking of or counting on or had because I tripped a wire, and now I'm got more income than I needed or should have had, and now I'm getting taxed on my benefit.
Well, that can happen too. They'll say you're married and you and your spouse have an age gap, right? You're collecting Social Security, but they're still working, and put you in that range where you're going to be getting taxed on your Social Security benefit. So once again, you got to understand what the impact's going to be.
Right, and then the other is just understanding that, and you can go to the next slide. The what happens there with our retirement accounts when we're dealing with that. Now, in some cases, the benefit to a retirement account for the early years, the working years, as we're accumulating, is the fact I'm not getting taxed on it. And that growth is tax deferred until I decide to take it out. And what the slide is showing you is that if I'm putting money away and I'm not getting taxed on it, the growth potential is extremely more valuable to me, especially if I can start in younger years than in later years.
And I'm also getting a tax break now while I'm putting it in.
Right, and it's building up. So it's one of those conversations, because a lot of times people are like, well, I don't know about getting into the retirement plan. I don't know about, participating in that or putting money into an IRA. What's the point? I can't use it until I'm 59 or 60 or whatever.
Right.
But that's the idea. It's there and it's meant to build up. Take the tax break now and have the funds available for you in retirement. Then you can deal with how you're going to get it out later on.
Yeah, but it's hard when you're 25 or 30 years old, and that's a lifetime away. You can't even see yourself being that old.
Yeah, it could be 2 lifetimes, actually, at that point. Yeah,
well, yeah, maybe. Right?
Yeah. Well, 25, and you get to, 75, basically. Error number 3. So we're going right into the retirement plan conversation, which is not maximizing the employer match. So if you have access to an employer retirement plan, whether it's 401k, whether that's 403b, and they are offering you a match, you can go to the next slide because it's a fun one that we always like to do, which is it's free money. And free money is the best kind of money. You can quote me on that because that's the best kind of money there is. This is free money. So if you are trying or thinking about or not participating in the retirement plan, for whatever reason, whatever the reason that the train hasn't gotten into the station yet, the least that you should be doing is trying to get to the max of that match.
Yeah, because when we get people talk to us about investments, they go, well, what's my return going to be? Right? And we say, well, what do you think is a good return? 7, 8, 9, 10%? Well, if you're getting a 3% match on your 3% of money, or some combination thereof, you're getting a 100% return.
Right.
Where can you get a 100% return? Guaranteed just for putting your money in. So yeah, that is like the first thing you should be doing before you worry about where you're going to get money anywhere else.
Right, and that and that is one of those that does come up. You have people who will say, "Gee, I don't know if I can get in right now." But even if it's like Craig was describing, the match is some formula where they're going to give you a percentage of the number that you put in, and the max is 5. Let's say if they'll match you up to 5 of yours. But if you put in 1, you're going to get some percentage. Yeah. You put in 2%, you're going to get somebody. You're at least going to get something, and you're building towards maxing that match.
Yeah, and even if you do put in 1%, you're only putting in 0.8 because the government's putting in the other part because you're getting a deduction on your taxes.
Right, and then we're reducing our tax base at the same time. Again, lowering the taxes, building up the money, getting money on top of that. There's a lot of benefit that goes on here that gets missed. And I can't tell you the number of times we deal with a lot of plans and a lot of participants that gets missed because people miss that calculation like Craig was going through, that there's just such a powerful impact to the ability that you're putting money in, that you're going to get this back at some point.
Right.
Next one, I don't know, that's just my free money going a little
you
crazy.
Like free money. Free money.
Free money.
Crazy Eddie. It's insane.
The king. Error number 2. So this is the one where, especially when we talk about planning for retirement, this is probably the one that's going to trip up most of the generations that are coming up. And that is neglecting the need for extended health care costs in retirement. Because one thing that is happening is we are living longer. The longer we are living, the more stuff that's going to happen that's going to trip us up, cause us to have some problems. We'll give you the doom and gloom on it. The most recent, the Center for Medicaid Studies, Medicare and Medicaid Studies, CMS, basically said last year that the number 70% of the population, that's 7 out of 10 people over the age of 65, need some kind of assisted or extended health care in retirement.
Wow.
7 out of 10. And of that, the number is, go to the next slide, because I think I've got some of it on there. I do, right? So some of it is on there. I knew I would. So this is people over the age of 50, and what this is giving you is statistics for what they have set up and covered. And the one in the bottom right-hand corner that we're looking at, it's probably your left-hand corner on the screen, that's 11%. That's the number of people that have a long-term care insurance policy.
That's actually higher than I thought it would be.
Well,
yeah, so we're heading in the right direction.
Right. Well, so it's getting better. I think there's starting to see some of that happening. But you can see it, like there isn't a number that's over 30% for anything in terms of preparing or planning, like trying to identify somebody who could be a caregiver.
Well, I think what sobers some people is when they have to deal with their own parents and having to deal with their care issues, whether they're caring for them themselves or had to find a place for them to live, to get care. And then they start going, my gosh, what if this is me in 20 or 30 years? Right. Are my kids going to do what I'm doing for my parent? Do I want them to do what I'm doing for my parent? Even more so. And do I get to maintain my independence as I get older? And how does that work if I can't afford care? So, like I said, there's a lot of factors that are starting to push people in that direction of actually taking a solid look at that now.
Yes, and so the next slide, if you will, and here's one of the things you can do. So here's the first interactive and kind of cool thing that comes up as far as as this is concerned. That map of the U.S., that QR code that's sitting right in the middle of it, whatever you're watching on, the TV, your computer screen, your phone, whatever it is, pause it, take a snapshot, take it out, shoot the QR code. It's going to open up an interactive map of the United States. That's going to have every single state in it, and you're going to be able to click on any one of the states, and it's going to tell you up to the minute, up to the date, what the cost of long-term care is in each of those states. It'll also drill it down into metro regions because some areas are more expensive than others. But this is one of those, you know, not only, hey, where we're living today, this is what it's going to cost me probably for care, but as I go later and think about, well, where do I want to retire? If I've got some specific area I've been thinking about, something I've been looking for or wanting to go to, I should have an idea of what it's going to cost me, because more than likely, if I'm married, one of us is going to need some kind of care.
Yeah. Like Fairbanks, Alaska, maybe.
I see that's in the bottom there. Alaska will tell you if you want to go. You know, God bless him. He wants to go to Alaska. I don't know that any of your family will go visit you in Alaska.
I'll probably be there by myself on a sheet of ice, but that's okay.
It just push me out.
Chewing some leather. Yes.
Yes, push me out into the water. But so that's sort of the idea and the concept with that. I think you have to go back one screen in terms of what you did there. Maybe did I do that? I must have done that. Yeah, no, it's okay. I went backwards on it. It's all right. The system's not set up properly.
We just want to make sure you're all awake out there. That's
yeah, yeah, no, that's all right. So again, just want to hold, if you want to bring that up one more time, just so it's on the screen for everybody, just so they have that QR code and can shoot that would be appreciated. Because I think this is one of those things that really gets the ability to like look at and get that number that like you were talking about, like hey, you know, Nana went through this or my mom went through this. What's it going to mean for me to go through it?
And will that QR code work with my Jitterbug phone?
I don't know about that. Probably not.
Okay.
All right, so the next one, and I think it's go one more because I think it's probably in reverse order. One more slide, please.
Scratch that, reverse it.
Okay. Nope, never mind. Stick where you're at. Go back. Ha! See, it's error number one. I don't know what I did. I must have just blocked it out. That's okay. But this is taking too much risk as you're in your older years. So now this is more targeted, Craig, towards people who are in their late 50s and early 60s. These are catch-up. I didn't let the savings train get into the station. Now I'm like, oh, I got to make up time, so I'm going to be too aggressive with my savings, with my portfolio.
Right.
And so I'm going to try, you know, this is, what's the adage? Pushing all in, right?
Push all my chips in?
That's the poker adage, right? Like
it's all on black?
Yeah. I'm going to take all this risk because I got to make up the time. I'm so behind. And the problem with that is it inevitably is going to backfire. You know, the visual on the screen is basically this roller coaster ride, and that roller coaster ride is literally how every market goes. The markets all start with optimism. They build on excitement. We peak in euphoria, and then the ride goes down from there. Anxiety, denial, fear, depression, blah, 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 until we finally sell out at the bottom and then say, oh, wait, things are starting to look good again. I'm going to start going back in. And so it's really about finding and fundamentally figuring out what your risk level is. I understand you're trying to catch up. You've got to get more time back. You've got to do more. But the reality there is if we take too much risk, we're going to feel and have it just like we won't stay with that track.
Well, the other problem is, you know, solving for retirement isn't a singularity. It's not a one event, right? Because you're constantly going to be retired nowadays almost 30 years potentially. If you're a married spouse, there's a 50% chance one of you will live to be in your 90s, right? So you're not looking to, okay, I got to have a peak event at 65 and everything's got to be in place. But what you do have to do is have a plan. Because if you're trying to play catch up, you got to do one of two things. You either got to take more risk, like you were saying, or you got to push more chips in, right? How much more can I put away to help me solve my retirement problem? Or come up with some other way of making sure you can make what you have last. So it's really important, if you are feeling behind, to really talk to somebody and how do I make the most out of the time and money that I have?
Right. And so really the idea there is just trying to make sure you've got some sort of a plan in place, get some sort of a look, I got an understanding, I'm trying to plan for this thing, I want to make it happen, but the problem for most people is they don't have all of the boxes looked at. They're like, oh, I'm just putting money away, but they're not really thinking about how they're putting it away, where they're putting it away, what's happening to it, or they're not putting away at all.
Right, and sometimes the advisors that are working may be great advisors, but they're really good at accumulation. They don't really have a good handle on distribution, which is what you're going to need to take the money back out and create retirement income streams for yourself. So like I said, this is a different type of planning, and you want to try to get ahead of it. And don't feel bad if you haven't. Make sure you talk to somebody who may know more about it than you do.
Next slide. So really the idea there is this is the second call to action, that QR code on the screen there. That'll set up a time, that'll open up our calendar. We are happy to set up a time and talk to anybody, to give you a little bit of guidance, a little advice, just to get a handle on what it is you're trying to do. The adage, like Craig was just saying, you really can't get a second opinion from the person who set up your plan, because they set the plan up. So it's going to be like, that's how we want it to go. And sometimes it does help to have that second set of eyes, that other, whatever you want to call it, look at it, overview of it, just to make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do, that you're on track for where you want to be. Next slide. And really this for us is just about where, we're gonna wrap this all up for you, which is, again, go check out the website. It's ariesfoundation.org. To contact us if you want to reach out that way. But check out the website. We're kind of happy with it. We'd love to get feedback from you. That link there on the schedule, that's the same thing as the QR code. So if you're one of those people, you want to write it down instead of shooting the QR code, you can do that. Always feel free to reach out to us, info@ariesfoundation.org. We're happy to answer an email. And like I said, whatever social media you might use, check us out on our YouTube channel. You can check us out our channel here on New TV as well. And that's everything that we got for you. And we want to say, Skål.